Welcome back to day 16 of the 100 horror films in 31 days. Got in 5 films today, one of my better days, and some really good watches too. First up is Last House on Dead End Street from 1973, directed and acted by Roger Watkins. Roger Watkins is an interesting guy. He actually apprenticed under Freddie Francis and Otto Preminger, and you can see that. I mean, the movie is a low budget indie masterpiece, in my opinion. Basically, it's about an ex con who, after getting out of prison, trying to figure out how to make money making movies, he turns to making snuff movies. It's a brutal, vicious, nihilistic film. Uh, it's one of those films you probably couldn't make today, certainly not with any real Hollywood studios behind it. But it's a really good film, amazingly good. I'd love to see someone, Vinegar Syndrome or somebody, do a great Blu-ray with it with some special features. A brutal, brutal story, unnerving. The musical choices are great in it. It adds to the unnerving atmosphere. It's a very unsettling movie, along the lines of Last House on the Left. It's very much like that, I think, in terms of its impact. But I was very impressed with it. It's a shame Roger Watkins. Apparently, Roger Watkins made this movie, and then the movie got tied up in litigation, and so didn't actually come out until the late '70s. And then he turned to directing porno to make a living, which is a shame because this is, at least based on this film, he could have had a very interesting career, I think. Highly recommended. I watched it on YouTube. If you want to check it out, it's a very good movie, very interesting. All right, let's see what else we got here. Next up, 1972, and we're going to talk about The Tower of Evil, directed by Jim McConley. Now, this is a proto slasher, probably, and maybe the first that's got a teen slasher motif in it. A group of teenagers end up going to a fog-ridden island, and on this island is a some kind of a monstrous thing that's killing people off. And some of the film is told in flashback, but it's very interesting. Good kills. Maybe not on the level, say, Bay of Blood, Mario Bava kills, but they were good kills. The problem, I think, with this one is it kind of drags in the middle. I mean, once you get the kids on the island, you're kind of waiting for the kills to happen, so it doesn't really have much of a storyline until it gets to that third act and you get the reveal. So I did give it a 6 out of 10. I've watched it before. This Scorpion release has a new HD transfer. Looks excellent. It's definitely worth a watch. 6 out of 10. All right. Next up, let's see. Um, Next up is The Designated Victim, 1971. This is Mauricio Lucidi, who also directed um, Vampire in Venice. Directed this one. This one stars Thomas Milan. This is a Mondo Macabro. This is one of those new Mondo Macabro releases. Thomas Milan befriends this strange count, count. He's a hippie count. I mean, and anyway, bottom line is this hippie count hates his brother, wants his brother killed, and Thomas Milan is in a marriage with a very wealthy woman that he would like to dump her too, and of course he doesn't want to lose the money, right? And so they hatch a plan to swap kills. Basically, that's the storyline. Thomas Milan's very good in it. He's good in pretty much everything I've ever seen. Um, I thought it was a little flat. I mean, it's flatly acted, but again, with Italian gialli and genre films like that, sometimes it's just It may just be the interpretation of language barriers and things, but other than that, I thought it was pretty good. It's an interesting story. It's really not a giallo in the truest sense. I mean, you don't have a mysterious killer. It's much more like Strangers on the Train, Alfred Hitchcock, kind of an Italian version of that. Anyway, I give it a 6 out of 10. It was okay, not decent watch. I enjoyed it for what it was. And then next up, I watched a French Canadian film named Honeymoon, and that's just titles Honeymoon, 1985's Honeymoon. This is a film I watched on YouTube. Um, it's about a woman who's basically going to be deported unless she marries somebody. So she gets involved with this agency that arranges for marriages so that they can people without the ability to stay in the country are able to stay through the marriage. And what happens is the person they pick to marry her becomes obsessed with her, stalking her. He's really a strange dude. It's really it's a very Lifetime channel, but it's got that 80s feel to it. It was a decent one-time watch. I gave it a 6 out of 10. I liked the ending. I thought the ending was a good payoff, but nothing special there either. And then finally, I watched on Peacock Halloween Kills 2021. Of course, this is getting a lot of attention, obviously. Um, I'll say I'm gonna make a separate video about my thoughts on Halloween Kills, but to suffice to say, it was a mixed bag, and I give it a 5 out of 10. But I'll save my comments for another video on that, a separate video. I think it deserves it. Anyway, that's it for day 16, and I appreciate you watching.